The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Now, let's get to the sneak peek of the big announcement, because you said several days back that in a couple of weeks, the naysayers would see how wrong they've been. Well, what was it they would be wrong about? Well, they were saying things like, this is going nowhere. You guys have stopped. You guys have stalled. You have nothing. The reason no complaint has been filed is because you have nothing. And what you said is that a lot is happening. You and I both have been talking about ever since we went to CPAC and Capitol Hill. VIPs, very important people. And when I say VIP, I mean people. Well, VIP means very important people. You know that. But I'm talking about people of influence, people of power, people of financial means, people of standing. I mean, constitutional standing to get things done in Congress or in courts or in state levels. So when I say VIP, I'm not talking about just curious people. I'm talking about people who can get something done. And what you were referring to, if I understand correctly, you correct me if I'm wrong, that in a couple of weeks, and now, as of this broadcast, just 10 or 12 days from now, you are getting ready to be in a big meeting of well-known, nationally known VIPs, and you have been asked to speak before this big meeting of nationally known VIPs to present your evidence, or at least everything you can present fairly publicly. Now, if these officials back your investigation, and we believe they will. I mean, the ones that have already gotten a sneak peek are just, they got it. But if this group, if these officials will back your investigation, this could be a huge, monumental shift in advancing this investigation towards this constitutional end. Am I correct in that?
You're correct with that, Carl. This could be a big thrust in moving forward. Part of the things that we've been having to combat is the internet flurry surrounding this topic. The bantering back and forth, the operatives that are working for the other side, putting out, misinformation, and we discussed that ad nauseum. It tends to damage the credibility.
Yeah.
And we've had to combat having all kinds of internet information swirling around there. People go on an internet site and they'll see the topic, and I just mean page after page of derogatory information, misrepresentations, half-truths, and outright lies. And human nature is it's always easier to believe the lie. You believe the lie because you want to believe the lie.
Right.
It makes it easier to dismiss the painstaking fact that you have to dig to get to the truth.
Right, right.
So you always believe a lie because you want to. You don't have to believe a lie, but you do it because you want to.
Right.
We've had to overcome that.
Right.
And even this last explosion that's been going on since last Friday, this doesn't help the cause.
Right.
We operate in a criminal arena. We don't operate in a civil arena. I've said this over and over again. We have to have our game stepped up. We have a higher evidentiary value to overcome. We have to make sure in what we present is accurate. We have to present it truthfully. I mean, we could be subject to perjury charges.
Right.
I mean, we're not playing a game. And this investigation is going on now over 20 months. I mean, there are people out there clamoring for the filing of a complaint that, to be kind, I really hate to go to this level, but to be honest with you, you're talking about people who in their professions were Hello Kitty salesmen.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact. And they're hammering as if they understand this process and they want a complaint filed. If you really understood the process, you would know how that looks.
Right.
To people that do understand the process.
Right.
And it makes people apprehensive. They don't want to get embroiled in this.
Right. Right.
So we are having to overcome that. And hopefully in this meeting that's going to take place, and I'm not going to give you the date or time, we may be successful in overcoming that to a large degree.
Yeah.
And these officials that I'm going to be before, have the ability to help us tremendously.
Yeah, they have the ability to really ratchet up the pressure to move this thing forward. They really do. And so this is huge. It's monumental. And, well, Mike, listen, as we wrap up this interview, I just want to make a couple more points and then you can comment to them. Number one, when this whole thing started, when Sheriff Arpaio put the cold case posse together to investigate that long-form birth certificate that was proffered by the White House, you guys literally and actually thought that you'd be able to clear the man in the White House within days. And to your surprise and to the entire investigative committee's surprise and to Sheriff Arpaio's surprise, the thing turned out to be an absolute forgery, and not only a forgery, but a very bad one. And, I mean, a very easy one to determine. And so that's where the investigation launched forward from there. And secondly, all of this information that you've been giving in press conferences and what you've been doing on PP Simmons Radio and Freedom Friday Radio and other radio programs around the nation is really unprecedented in an investigation of this sort. Really, what most people would have done is 15 months of investigation, nobody would have heard anything until something constitutional happened. But you've been good enough to keep us posted and up to date on the details from the very beginning. And God bless you for that, Mike.
Well, thank you, Carl. You know, and I really want your listeners to understand that it is unprecedented what we're doing. I have to be very careful in what I disclose. I am trying to keep folks abreast as best I can. You know, we did go dark there for a while, and we had to. I couldn't continue with the media scrutiny that was going on. And you know what? I want to clear something up, Carl, if I can take an opportunity.
Sure, go ahead.
There was I believe it was the first press conference. We found out that there was going to be a media blackout, that there was going to be no national media. Now, I will tell you this. I did come to learn national media watched every second of that press conference.
Yeah.
So did the FBI. But I want to tell you that we knew there was a media blackout. We knew the tact was going to be to let this give birth and die in Arizona.
Right.
So a decision was made that aside from the press conference itself, we had to come out with another venue to try to get this information out there. An ebook was written by Jerome Corsi and myself.
Right.
And I've been accused that ebook was for money-making purposes, which I clearly stated the proceeds, which I think was something like 60 or 70 cents a copy, I tithe right to my church.
Right.
And I have the receipts to prove it.
Right.
I didn't make money on this book, and that was never the idea of this. Once you try to release an ebook, unbeknownst to me, it goes to a publisher, and then it becomes a business. And everybody does it for dollars. Well, I've also been accused in that ebook of harming this investigation by releasing information in book form. Well, let me clear this up for everybody right here, right now. We publicly did a press conference where I laid out, I think for an hour and a half, where we were in this investigation and what our investigation revealed. That was all public information that was already out there all over the web.
Right.
The ebook is nothing more than that press conference in written form.
Right.
That's all it is, to get it out there beyond the borders of Arizona. I don't care about that ebook. I am not an author.
Right. I was going to say the only reason you wrote it was because of the media blackout. So you were trying to get another venue of information. And as you said, you got a relatively small check. I forgot what it was around $1,500 or something, and you gave it to your church.
That's what I did with it. And there is nothing in that ebook that jeopardizes this investigation. We confirmed in that first press conference public information. That's what we were asked to do.
Yeah.
And then we took it beyond because we couldn't stop there. I could have easily stopped right there and said we fulfilled our obligation.
Right.
You know, the other thing, too, is this is a unique situation. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office Cold Case Posse works for Maricopa County. We donate our time to Maricopa County.
Right.
We've become the posse for the United States.
Right.
And that's that's a big burden.
Yeah. Yeah.
because we have people from all over the country that are helping us, contribute to us, and they have given us input, and we've gleaned a lot of information from that input.
Yeah.
So I feel compelled and obligated, in a sense, to do my best to let them know we're not failing you.
Right.
And this is going to sound a little crass, but it's amazing to me. You can have a celebrity, or you could have a ball player, go to a soup kitchen on an afternoon and dole out, turkey sandwiches to the homeless. And the media will parade them around as if they are some kind of moral hero.
Right.
For an afternoon's worth of work.
Right.
And you have people doing what we're doing, which I think is for quite a noble cause.
Right.
And you're villainized.
Right. For the preservation of our constitutional republic and for the preservation of our Constitution and our complete way of life. That's what you're doing. That's the noble cause in which you're engaged. And you're right. There are a plethora of people out there villainizing you for it.
And you know what? So be it. I mean,
Yeah.
we can go back to the
That's
Bible.
right.
Look what happened there.
Well, that's right. Even our founding fathers. I mean, look at the freedoms and the greatness they handed to us, and every one of them were trash for what they did. But yet we've lived off of the benefits of their great sacrifices for years. So thank you, Mike Zullo, you, the Cold Case Posse, Sheriff Joe Arpaio, for staying in there with it, for hanging in there with it, for your sacrifice. You really have sacrificed. God bless you for that. Our prayers are with you. And once again, the big announcement, the sneak peek is that in, less than 2 weeks now, there's a big meeting of nationally known VIPs, before whom you will be a guest speaker. And when these officials back your investigation and back your play, this will be a monumental shift in the whole thing. And before long, I don't know if it'll happen that day, but before long, the media will have to take notice when these VIPs and others that have come forward start piling on this issue, kind of like the IRS scandal and the AP scandal. Once it became too big for the media to ignore, it was there. And we really believe that's what's going to happen here.
Well, I do believe that too, Carl. And, it's at P.P. Simmons that they're going to learn about it as soon as I can release it. If not, maybe that very day, if I find an opportunity to call you, we could release the results of that. That very day. I can't make that promise, but if not, it will be directly after.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, good deal. We'll look forward to that. Well, Mike, let's go ahead and wrap this interview up right now. Thank you so much again for your time. Again, we impose upon you a lot. You're very gracious to give us these updates and the clearing up of misinformation. This is really great. And God bless you. Our prayers are with you. Thank you so much, Mike Zullo. Well, folks,
thank you, Carl.
Yes, sir. Folks, you've been listening to P.P. Simmons Radio. Carl Gallup's your host. Stay tuned to this channel for more breaking news and information as it comes.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.